Okay, this is the second video. A couple things. When she's wearing, Sydney, be quiet, okay? When she's, hi Sydney, say hi.
Hi.
Okay, watch the door for me, please, okay? When she is wearing using her walker with the oxygen tank and the tube on her nose, and she's not using that walker, all she does is take that white tube off her face and leave the walker. You don't have to turn the oxygen tank off. You don't have to turn it to the dial from 3 to 0 or 4. Just leave it. Oxygen will not leak. It is pneumatically operated so that oxygen will only come out when she's breathing and it's on her face. So you don't have to worry about turning that thing off, only when changing a tank. The empty tanks, if you have to take any off, go in the kitchen closet right here. There's a sign, if you can read that, it says empty tanks on shelf below. You see there's an old gauge. It probably does work, but I took it off because I wanted them to pick it up. She's got a bunch of tanks there. One of them is actually half full, but I wasn't sure if it was working right. The full tanks, so the empty tanks go there. The full tanks, if you need to put a full tank on, are right there. She's got 4 tanks right there. A tank should last at least a week, so that's 4 weeks right there. And she has a tank on her right now. But in the event a tank has to be changed, which maybe it has to happen, I'm not sure how fast she's going to go through those, you have to call the APRIA, A-P-R-I-A, and all you do is tell them, and I'll give you the phone number, but remind me if I don't. All you do is call them and tell them, you know what, I can give it to you right now. You call, where's my phone? 1 second. The APRIA number is 713-440-8537. You would call them if she needs more tanks and say that you're calling to have more conserver tank. That's what that small tank is called. It's called a conserver tank. You say you need more conserver tanks for Barbara Linton. They'll confirm her address on Richmond Avenue. You would tell them, okay, come to her apartment and pick up however many empty tanks are in the kitchen shelf. You would also ask them to pick up the gauge, that's called a gauge, over there, and tell them the gauge you had changed out because you were not sure it was working. So they'll pick up, for example, if you were to call them now, you would say pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 conserver tanks in the kitchen shelf and 1 gauge, and then you would tell them to drop off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tanks, not a gauge because she already has one, and tell them to drop off the tanks, and they'll come into her apartment and tell them to put the tanks in the oxygen rack on the floor by the couch. And they will do that within 24 to 48 hours. Mom doesn't have to be here. They know what to do. They'll come in, they'll pick up the empty tanks, they'll drop off the refill tanks. Another thing, when you are changing a tank, always make sure, you see that white tape? When you put on your tank, always make sure that that white tape is not covering the holes, because if you put the gauge on, it'll push that tape into the holes and might block it. So just take your thumb and peel off that tape and make sure it's not covering the holes before you put a new tank on. What else? Don't leave the tanks in a hot car. Now, when you come up, Bob, for you need to change her cannula tube. They're in that drawer. The one you want to change, don't worry about the green tubes, is the one that says nasal cannula 1600, and it'll say, you see 7-inch right above my thumb, it's 7-inch. You take one of these, and where is it? It has an end on it. There it is. Where's my thumb? You see that end right there? There, right there, that end. One end goes over her face, the other end is this. You shove it, just push as tight as you can on top of that gauge. If I look at the one that we're going to have them pick up eventually, here's the gauge. You shove it over that thing right there. So this will be on the tank, or like that, sliding over the tank, and then that tube connects over to that metal thing right there. Just shove it as tight as you can. Okay? Now, so the cannula tube you will change on the weekend you're here, Bob. So you need to pull off the old one that's already attached to the small conserva tank and just throw it in a trash can, and grab a new one from that drawer right there that I described to you. Open the package and just shove it on the tank. Now, it's going to get noisy for a second, but I turned it off. When she's in her apartment, she does not wear the cannula tube tank that's with her walker. She wears the one that drags around the apartment, that big green thing. All you have to do is make sure it's on, and it's on number 3. So you'll flip this on, and make sure it's on when you come in the apartment, and that she's always wearing it when she's in the apartment. You flip that on. Now you see that little bubble just went up right there? It's a bunch of numbers. Make sure that round thing's on number 3. If it's not, we're in trouble. We need to call the Apria, and ask for assistance. But it should be in number 3 and always be on number 3. But once in a blue moon, I guess they're supposed to add some sort of water to make sure it works properly, but it hasn't happened yet. I'll turn this off so it's not noisy. Okay, so we've gone over the oxygen, the tube. Always make sure she has enough Depends, which are always piled in here. I think I should have plenty for you, but if not, you need to buy more. Always make sure that they're Depends women underwear XL14. Get her some ice cream. Ooh, she already has tons in there. Find something low fat, a small pint. She only needs 1 pint in there. I don't know why she still has 2 in there. And then check to make sure that her food has not expired, and if it needs to be replaced, just make sure that she has bread that's, good for at least 5 days after you leave. Make sure, check the butter and the yogurt melts or yogurt drinks and soy milk. She doesn't need a lot of food in her fridge. I always just make sure she has bread. I had to add some stuff, but make sure she has bread, a small pint of fruit, soy milk, yogurt drinks, and then over here, you don't see it, but I always put not granola bars, but like chewy granola bars that are low fat. So find chewy granola bars or chewy chocolate bars that are low fat, like Weight Watchers, or just say, light. And I throw a couple boxes in there because she likes to eat them. And let's see what else. So we've done that, the oxygen, the fridge. Always make sure she has plenty of styrofoam cups. You see I've got it pretty well stacked. She goes to those cups quite a lot. The plates, they always bring plates for her food, so it's not really an issue. Just make sure she has plenty of styrofoam cups. If you see any stuff lying around needs to be washed, just wash it with the dish soap. Oh, the oxygen. Once a week, we need to change the filter that's behind this thing. It's really easy. You come in, and you need to do this, Bob. And there's a little foam thing. It pops right out. You take it out. When you're done, you pop it right back in. You shove it in there. All you need to know to change it, is you take it out, wash it in warm water with the hand wash soap. I'll have to buy some more. That's right here. We need to buy some. So just wash it quickly under the sink, for whatever 20 seconds, make sure it's nice and soapy, then rinse it, squeeze it tight like you're rinsing a sponge as much as you can. And I usually sandwich it between paper towels, and just, this paper towel, just pat it down as dry as you can feel it with your hand. It doesn't have to be super dry, just as dry as you can make it by patting it after 30 seconds with a paper towel, and stick it back in. You just don't want it dripping wet in there. I always check her computer to make sure the antivirus is okay. Make sure it's on. Sometimes it'll be frozen for some reason, in which case turn it off and on. She knows how to use the TV. Here is her diaper genie. Right there on the floor. And there's the automatic bathroom sprayer for air freshener. You see I've got some batteries up there in canisters. It's self-explanatory how to open it. But when you come and just test it, make sure it's working. If it's not, then you have to change the canister or the batteries. You test it by pressing that button. Oh, hello, it's not working. All right, I'm gonna have to change it. Which means you probably won't have to, but I'll change it. But usually you press it and it goes psh, puffs out. So I'll change that. That's the diaper genie. Up on the shelf right there are extra canisters. Follow the instructions carefully. Don't rip off that paper. Well, you'll see. Just follow the instructions carefully. When you come in the apartment, you want to make sure that the staff hasn't messed with it. So when you come in the apartment, open the diaper genie first and make sure that if you pull this, it comes down. If it's stuck or looks odd, you'll know that they haven't done anything right. There's also some instructions there, but when it's full, you pull it down, put the paper over the razor, tie it off, and throw away the stuff you pulled out. You pop that open to pull out the canister, but it's pretty self-explanatory once you look at the directions. I think that's it. If I can think of anything else, I'll let you know. Covered the air freshener, the diaper genie. We've covered the oxygen, the cannulas. Make sure your phone's not off the hook. That thing right there, don't worry about it. The staff does it. They put it over her face like at least once a day. And that's it. If I think of anything else, I'll let you know. Stephanie, this is for you too. At least, Stephanie, I know you can't touch the oxygen on her tank, but please make sure that it's not empty. If it is, have the staff do it, because I know you can't touch it, and tell them it's empty, but you can't do it, but they can change it, and they're supposed to, as you said, during my absence. And of course, when I'm not here anyway, they're supposed to change it. That's it.